Hello and welcome to the video, and I would like to thank you for clicking on this video because these are the types of videos that YouTube gives me money for. YouTube really likes these ones, and so just thank you for helping me get money for the things that I love to do. So yeah, redraws! I have done them occasionally before, and I always really like them, and it seems that you guys like them too. I can understand why. It's really nice to see just how much you can improve when you just keep practicing. Now, as for the pieces that we're working with today, these are all about 6 years old. They are probably very rushed. You know, back in the day everyone was doing these top 10 saddest warriors deaths or saddest warriors moments videos, and they were all kinda really lazy. Like, people would look up something from Google Images to illustrate them and then put like a sad music in the background, boom, you're done. And I think people mainly looked at them for seeing other people's opinions on things. I also wanted to make a top 5 warriors deaths or saddest warriors deaths video, but for whatever reason I did not steal art off Google Images like everyone else was doing, but instead I decided that I will draw the pictures myself, which was a mistake, clearly. Kudos to Past Northflower for not stealing art, but for whatever reason I decided to rush all of the art that I made for the video, so I don't really even see what's the point then. Like, I probably wanted to illustrate it somehow, but yeah, I mean, look at the 6 years old Feathertail picture. I mean, that is not up to par with my other 6-year-old drawings. So as to compensate for that, or not compensate, but like kinda be fair to my past self, I decided to not spend a ton of time on these pieces, but instead like under 2 hours a piece. So this first piece here is Feathertail, and the original picture is yeah, it's rushed. It's really rushed. So I wanted to maintain the general idea of the original piece, so not like change the colors or the compositioning of these old pieces too much in my newer versions, so I tried to stay as true to the original as possible. I initially was going to make a background for this, but then I decided against it since, well, the background wasn't turning out well, and also the original image did not have a background, so I just made it kind of like this dark background. And I'm actually really happy with this piece. It's very simple, much like the original, but I think that it very nicely conveys like what I was trying to say here. Okay, then moving on to the next one, and this is Cinderpelt. Oh boy. So the original image, I don't like it, and even like the end result of my new one, it's not my favorite. Mainly because I think there's too much going on in both of these images. The old one, like, why did I put all these characters here? I mean, I understand that the whole scene here, what's going on is that Cinderpelt is protecting Sorreltail and then gets attacked by the badger, and then Leafpole is like, oh no! But that's kind of maybe a little complex, and I don't understand why in the original image, why I had put Sorreltail in the front of the image when I don't really think she's the point of the image. So that was the major change that I did with this newer one. I put her in the background, kind of in the shadow, so that she's not overshadowing Cinderpelt here. So I don't really know how to draw badgers. I certainly didn't know how to draw badgers 6 years ago, and even now I feel like I made the legs a little too short. But I mean, I like the newer one better than the 6 years old one, which is good, but I mean, there are still a lot of issues here. I don't understand why in the old one I made Leafpool just kind of stand there shocked. Like, if your mentor is dying from a badger attack, maybe you should like go help her. So in the newer one I tried to make it so that she was like running towards the badger to help Cinderpelt. Also, Cinderpelt is so defeated in the old one. Like, she's just lying on her back with her eyes closed and crying. In the newer one I tried to make her seem more like she hasn't completely given up on life yet, that she's kind of still standing up and just being very defensive and having her eyes open instead of having them closed, because like, how are you supposed to defend yourself if you're on your back with your eyes closed? Come on, Cinderpelt. There we go, and then moving on to the next one, Badgerpaw or Badgerfang. This one is one that I genuinely think that this was a really sad death, even like nowadays. I did some weird things with the colors here. They're kind of all too bright, and it's difficult to tell whether it's supposed to be daytime or nighttime here. So in the new one I actually made it very clearly nighttime. And I wanted to keep all the main elements of this, and this is actually, this new piece is very close to the original. I did remove the sky from the picture because I just thought that it wasn't necessary. In a lot of these old pictures I'm reserving a lot of space in the image for things that don't really matter. I wanted to keep the broken star that I had put in the previous one. I didn't really know where to put it, but I thought that it was like a nice touch, so I kept it. I don't know what Badgerfang's actual death injury was, aside from the fact that he bled out. In the original one, he has this kind of huge rip in his stomach, so I wanted to keep that in the new one, and I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but it looks good enough. I actually like this piece. I think it looks nice. So you can maybe see here that for a second I was planning to have the sky there, but then the pose was already the kind that it looked a little bit weird, especially the tail. Because if you were to have the sky there, then that would screw over the perspective of this image, and then he would like look like he had his tail up in the air, which I didn't want because he's like dying. Also, in the original piece and also the official artwork of Badgerfang, he's very, very small, like a little kitten. I didn't want to make him that small. Instead, I made him just kind of like, he has these long, skinny legs to kind of solidify that he's very weak. I mean, I have long, skinny legs. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this piece, except that I really like it. I think that the colors that I picked for this one also work together fairly well. You wouldn't believe it, like the red in contrast with like the turquoise of the grass, they actually, I think they complement each other, and it looks nice. I like it. Then the next one, this is probably my favorite piece out of the old piece. It is still rushed, and clearly I didn't really have an idea of how to draw snow, and I mean I still don't. And the clouds are a little bit too grey perhaps, but I mean it is fine. This one I kept maybe like closest to the original. So usually with these pieces I have done this like cell shading, because I experienced that is the fastest kind of shading to do if you're like in a hurry. But for this one I thought that it was more fitting to do this kind of watercolor type shading, so very soft, multiple layers of that, and give more of this kind of like a fluffy effect to Mosskit. There was actually something about like Mosskit in Blue Star's Prophecy was said that like it's a she kit, but then later it was like a he kit, so I mean I don't know, I mean it doesn't matter, it's a kitten. Gender doesn't matter to baby cats. I was originally going to make it daytime like in the original picture, but then I decided that it was more fitting to have it be like during the snowstorm that was going on in Blue Star's Prophecy when they died. So I made it nighttime. I kept the pose largely the same, except that I gave them longer legs. This isn't really my favorite piece out of these ones. Although, I mean, I do like it. I definitely still need to practice drawing snow. Also, in the making of this piece, I looked up frostbite in cats, like how that would look like, and I do not recommend doing that. I did not find what I was looking for. I found many really sad pictures. So because I wasn't able to find what I was looking for, I instead just made their eyes kind of frozen and like the areas around their nose and mouth to kind of make it look more sad. And I mean, this is kind of heartbreaking, honestly. And I also wanted to have the snow more like be on top of them, because my idea of this is that they have been out here in the snow for a while. I also deleted the clouds. I just thought that they didn't fit in the image, like Mosskit is probably so small that you wouldn't see the clouds from like this perspective. So I deleted them altogether. But I do like this image. Then to the last one, and what I said with my old art that like the characters don't interact with each other at all. I mean, in this one you can barely see Spottedleaf, and Firestar is just standing there. Like, he's not even doing it. He's just like, oh no, I'm gonna stand far away from you and cry. Like, go closer to Spottedleaf if you're so sad. So I wanted to have them interact more in this image. So I actually put Spottedleaf in the frame, and I had her kind of like hold Fireheart's chin, and just like, it's like, oh, sad, and Fireheart is crying and with his broken chin. I actually think that this image is kinda unintentionally hilarious, because Spottedleaf's like, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna be alright, Firestar, and Firestar is like, no, Spottedleaf, please don't die, no. I mean, he's just screaming in her face with his broken jaw. Yeah, I have kept my Spottedleaf character designs fairly consistent throughout the years. They're mainly from, you know, the Spottedleaf. They're all inspired by the Spottedleaf's Goodbye multi-animator project. This one actually I didn't spend a lot of time on it, kind of like the bare minimum, because I had already made a lot of pieces like during the same day, so I just didn't spend a ton of time on this. But I think it does its job. It looks pretty nice. Another note, I definitely had not read Last Hope. I had not read The Last Hope when I made the original image. I'm pretty sure that this is just like, I was redrawing the scene at the end of Spottedleaf's Goodbye, basically. I also wanted to give Spottedleaf this kind of an effect that she's fading away and whoa, and I didn't know how to do that. I did it in a really weird way here, but I think it also can, it does its job. It's alright. I was going back and forth between how strong I wanted to make this effect, and I mean, this is what I ended up with. I think this picture is alright. So yeah, those are my redraws. And even though I have been kind of talking shit about my old pieces throughout this entire video, I mean, I just want you to know that I still think that it was important for me to do those pieces, because if I had not done those at one point, then I wouldn't be here now. At some point you just have to make those bad art pieces so that you can proceed in your art. Making art is not that easy, but it takes time. It takes a lot of time to learn to do certain things, and as I have outlined during this video, I also think that I still have a lot of things to learn here. And eventually I will learn them as long as I just keep practicing, and the same goes for you. You just gotta keep drawing every day preferably, but you can also do it just like occasionally, and eventually you're going to get somewhere where you're happy with your art. Hopefully. You're going to improve year after year. So yeah, don't let stupid people bring you down when you make art. Don't let the cringe culture kill you.